Hello everyone and welcome to my channel In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne and this is my weekly reading wrap up. It is Friday afternoon, so there's still a good 24 hours left in this week. But I'm going to go ahead and film this because my day tomorrow is very busy, including I'm going to have some reading sprints with Lucy at the Lucy Chronicles, and I'm really looking forward to that. But that will have already happened by the time you are watching this, so you don't care about that. But anyways, I have a busy day planned tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to film or edit or anything like that. So I'm going to do this now and get this ready to go. And also, I don't have a great deal to report in terms of reading. So I have been busy reading for Victober. I started The Doctor's Wife by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, which is a sensation novel from the Victorian era. And I started Sylvia's Lovers by Elizabeth Gaskell. And I am also reading Honest Faith, which is a group read organized by Tiffany, A Beautiful Minutia. And she and Dia and Kristi are hosting that, a group read, and I'm really enjoying it. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss out on the live discussion of this week's section, but I am reading along and keeping up with that and really enjoying that. I don't have a lot to say. I'm halfway through both of those novels, more than halfway through The Doctor's Wife. That one is a shorter book and I will be finished with it at some point in the coming week, depending on how quickly I read. I'm reading 2 chapters a day in each of them. But if I have time, I want to get a little bit ahead with The Doctor's Wife because I think that would be the easiest one to knock out so I can pick up something else. But it all depends on how much time I have. I am off for Columbus Day / Indigenous Peoples Day, and we are going to take a hike. So I will have some free time to read Monday, but we'll see. Who knows? Anyway, I also, before I talk about those books a little bit more, my thoughts as I'm in the middle of them, I picked up a book, I wanted to do a fun fall rom-com. And because, I was just in the mood for the fall vibes and the fall, whatever. I wanted to do a little bit of seasonal reading. But unfortunately, the ones that I really wanted to read, the Sweater Weather series, it was on Kindle Unlimited, I'm pretty sure, but I canceled my Kindle Unlimited, so I couldn't get that anymore, and my library doesn't have them. I do want to see if my library has a physical copy, but I doubt it. So anyway, I wasn't able to access them. So I started looking for some other fall-themed rom-coms. And so I found one that was on Amazon Prime, so I could read it for free. And I won't even tell you what, I got a chapter in, maybe 2 chapters in, and I was like, okay, this is not for me. It was, people in the reviews and in the description, it was described as sweet and closed door, which usually, those are keywords that I look for, because I don't want open door, spicy, whatever. But sometimes even closed door crosses the line for me, and this one was one of those. And I didn't read enough to even know if it genuinely is closed door. I have a hard time believing that, the way it started out, but it could be. But it definitely was not clean in my mind. It seemed like the whole point of the book was to elicit a physical response. Like everything that the narrator was saying, it was in first person, everything that she was saying and thinking about. Well, it might not have been in first person, but anyways, everything that she was saying and thinking about, anyway. Not for me. I was like, okay, moving on. So then I got a free copy of a compilation of short stories by several Christian authors. So I know at least I won't run into that issue, hopefully. And it's called Autumn Kisses or something like that. So it's just little short stories all set in the autumn, presumably all romance, rom-coms type of thing. So Kristi Ann Hunter is one of the authors, and that's why I got it. Well, A, it was free, and B, I do like books that I have read by Kristi Ann Hunter before, so I am looking forward to reading that one. I started that one. I can't remember the name of the first little novella or short story that's in there. Can't remember what it was called or who was the author, for that matter. But so far it's shaping up to be a cute story, and it's set in Boston, which is fun because we were just there earlier this year. So all of the places that they're talking about, it's oh, we were there, we did that, or at least I know about it. So anyway, that is a fun one. So back to The Doctor's Wife and Sylvia's Lovers. So The Doctor's Wife is the group read for Victober, and so it's really been fun and super helpful to follow along with the group chat about the book. And someone in the group chat pointed out that the pacing seems off, which many people had complained. I personally hadn't like fully noticed it when other people mentioned it, but once they said it, I was like, yeah, there are kind of parts that seem to drag a little bit. So this person was saying that the reason why the pacing seems off is because this book was serialized, which fits one of the prompts for Victober, so it's crossing that off for me as well. And because it was serialized, you have a situation where at the beginning of each installment, the author is kind of, in a way, reviewing the previous installment. But the way she's choosing to do it, Mary Elizabeth Braddon, the way that she's choosing to do it in this particular book is that there's like the first chapter or portion of each installment seems to be like an retrospective look at what happened before. So one of the characters, it will kind of dig into, I guess, their mindset and their thought process or their inner life, whatever, about what had happened previously before continuing with the new action. So that affects a little bit of the pacing when you're reading it as a novel, start to finish, and not a serialization. So that was interesting. It was super helpful to be a part of the group read and, you know, somebody able to share that knowledge, which helps when you're reading it. This is my first book by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. Lady Audley's Secret is on my list of 50 by 50. And so I was kind of torn, like if I should read that one first because it's more of a priority for me, or read The Doctor's Wife because it was the group read. And I'm glad I'm going with the group read because it's always so much more fun to read with other people and get other perspective and insight. And it's really interesting. There is a little bit of that give and take in the pacing of the novel, but it's not affecting my enjoyment of it personally. I have enjoyed the book and I actually find it very readable. It does have some of the descriptive paragraphs that you can find in some Victorian novels, but it's not heavy and it's not excessive. And there are a lot of wonderful like food descriptions, and her descriptions of the houses and the buildings is just spot on. Like there's one particular house in the story that's called the Mordred Priory. I'm like, why doesn't everybody know about the Mordred Priory? Because forget Pemberley, I'm moving to the Mordred Priory. It just sounds like the place I want to live. The description of the library alone was just amazing. I wish I had, like, I'm using my phone, otherwise I would look up the description of it. Actually, it's probably on my Kindle, but my Kindle's, anyway, I don't have access. I had like copied and pasted that description, and it was so beautiful. Maybe I'll put it in the description box below. I love the description of the library. I was like, I would like to live in just a library. Can I just like have an apartment in the library there? But also the description of other places and the gardens at the Mordred Priory, all of it. It just sounds amazing. Sounds like an idealized sort of old English estate, that used to be a convent back in the day sort of thing. That would be really cool to live in. Anyway, so I love that aspect of the setting. And the characters are interesting. None of them are particularly likable. Many of them are flawed in some way or other. And the characters that are likable are definitely more side characters. So you don't get as much of them. And when you do, it's like a breath of fresh air. Like, oh, somebody I actually like in this story. But overall, the story is interesting. Apparently, it is, I don't know if it's a retelling or inspired by, or just has a lot of similarities with Madame Bovary, which I've never read. I'm familiar with the storyline, and it definitely has similarities to that storyline for sure. So it's very interesting, and I'm enjoying it overall as a read. I have no complaints about it, really. And then Sylvia's Lovers by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is my final full-length novel by her that I have read. and I am enjoying reading it. It definitely moves at a pretty slow pace. Now, Elizabeth Gaskell, I find, does move at a pretty slow pace most of the time. Her books are not, they're not fast-paced and action-packed. There's a lot of introspection that happens, and a lot of analysis in the narration of the characters and their motives and that sort of thing. So it's not super fast-paced, and there's not really a great deal going on plot-wise. I feel like it's still taking, like, I'm halfway through the book and it's still setting up some things. So it is moving pretty slowly, and it's actually a little bit more of a slog to read than The Doctor's Wife. But at the same time, it is interesting, and I'm very curious to see how she is going to wrap everything up, and or not even wrap everything up, but like work through the plot. What's going to happen next with these characters? How is it going to be resolved? All of that stuff. So looking forward to reading more in that and getting more into the story. What has been really interesting to me is the overlaps between Sylvia's Lovers and The Doctor's Wife. Unintentionally, there are some definite similarities in some aspects of the storyline. Like, they're not the same story, they're not the same plot. They really don't have anything to do with each other. But when you're reading them, like, simultaneously, you can see a lot of similarities. Number one, that the main female protagonist in both of these stories is a young, naive woman who is, I don't know how you want to put it, maybe given to flights of fancy, and particularly in The Doctor's Wife. Like, she's very much like, think Anne of Green Gables when she was young. Like, except that now the girl is like 18, 19, 20 years old or whatever. Like, she's a grown woman, she's still young, but she very much has like the Anne of Green Gables outlook on life. Everything is romanticized, idealized. She makes heroes out of the wrong people, you know, out of the brooding romantic male hero. You know, she thinks that he's her ideal. And Sylvia in Sylvia's Lovers isn't quite that. She's not like idealizing everything. She has more of a steady head on her shoulders. However, that head is turned by a handsome face with a charming personality, and she refuses to listen to warnings that are given to her about this gentleman in question. And for both of them, Sylvia and The Doctor's Wife, there is a male interest in their life who is kind of like a staid, steady, super boring character. And like, good guy, but boring as a hero, you know, not someone that is very appealing to them. And so both of these girls are attracted to and interested in the bad guy when they have this very boring good guy right there by their side. And this is honestly like a tale as old as time. There's a reason I'm reading two novels simultaneously, both set in the 19th century, that are dealing with this story, because it happens every day. We're easily turned by a handsome face or pretty face and a charming personality, kind of like on the reverse side Edmund was in Mansfield Park with Mary Crawford. So it's easy to have our heads turned by someone who is handsome or beautiful and who knows how to charm us and sweet talk us into behaviors and things that we may not do otherwise. So it really is interesting to see those parallels in the two stories back to back. It was really interesting because one day I was reading, it was like chapter 17 or something, in both of them. The word warning was in the chapter title in both of them. One was like a warning rejected, and the other one was the first warning. And in both of them, the girl in question was the one being warned about the dangers of this guy that they are interested in. So I found that very interesting parallels between those two stories. But I have not finished either one yet, and I hope to this coming week at least finish The Doctor's Wife. I'm going to be picking up the Dracula and buddy reading that, so I need to fit that in also which is one reason why I want to wrap up like The Doctor's Wife, so I can give more attention to Dracula, which I'm going to be buddy reading. That is what I have going on this week in terms of reading, or what I have been doing this past week. One thing I do want to mention is that I don't know if you were able to see the Northern Lights this past week. That has been like a bucket list dream of mine, to be able to see the Northern Lights. And in the past year and a half, we actually have had the Northern Lights come down as far south as Virginia. And some of the times they've gone even farther, but which is like very unusual. I don't know. It definitely doesn't happen frequently. I don't know about ever, but definitely doesn't happen frequently. And so we've tried a few times to go out and see them. The one time it just was really, really, really cloudy, and we could tell that something was like there was like glow behind the clouds or whatever. But even with our cameras, we couldn't see much other than like a faint green color. So it wasn't really that much of a show. That was earlier this year. But we've tried a couple of times since then, and we have failed. We haven't really been able to see any Northern Lights. Either, you know, they ended up not being as strong as they thought they would be, or it was whatever. So I was so excited last night, Thursday night. My husband and I went out driving. At first we were disappointed because we couldn't really see them, but we finally drove to a place that was an overlook in a neighborhood. So like we could look out over, it was a pretty wide vista, and there was light pollution, but it was low enough, like we were on a rise and it was low enough that we could still have a great view of the expanse of sky. And so we were able to see with our cameras at that point, and I'll put some pictures on the screen, we were able to see through our camera the Northern Lights. And it was like, there were, in particular, there was like a big huge pink swath through the sky right directly in front of us. So we were able to see them then. And so I was happy about that, but I still kind of wanted to see, like, you know, with my own eyeballs, an actual like moving Northern Lights in the sky. But I was like, you know, maybe one of these days I'll just have to go to Iceland or Norway or Alaska or something when there are Northern Lights. But we got home, and my sisters and I were chatting on Messenger about, you know, our hunt to see the lights, whatever. We each had gone individually. And my one sister was like, hey guys, I can actually see pink in the sky without my camera. And I was like, what? And when we got home from our travels, like normally we can't see stargazing things from our house because we're at the bottom of a hill, and also there are a lot of trees around us, which is a great situation in many ways. But when it comes to stargazing or looking at nocturnal events in the sky, it's really bad as far as getting a good view of them. We have to drive out of our neighborhood and out of our town, really, in order to see anything star related or sky related at night. But when we had gotten home from searching for the Northern Lights, I knew that I wanted to look later because they were supposed to be continuing on through like up until like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So I know I wanted to look at them later, but I didn't want them to go driving out again. So I figured out where I could see them from our driveway, and with the help of my camera, I was able to take a picture. I figured out where the north was, and there was a patch of sky I could see where, you know, that same like pink swath of Northern Lights. So later on, my sister was like, hey guys, go outside because you can see the pink with your eyes, like not just through your camera. And so I went outside, and sure enough, like pink just all over the sky. And then so I called my family out, so we were all looking at it and we're taking pictures and everything. And then my sons were like, look, it's everywhere. So it was like our whole backyard, this area behind me was all like just moving pink going in and out, and it was just so beautiful. And we just stayed out here for a while and watched it and took pictures and just enjoyed the sight right from my deck right here. And so I didn't think I would ever be able to see the Northern Lights with my naked eye from my backyard. That was just a wonderful gift, and I enjoyed the sight so much. So that is something else that I have been enjoying this week in my search for wonder. So I hope that you were able to see the Northern Lights. So let me know in the comments below if you were able to see the Northern Lights, either with a naked eye or with your camera, if you were able to catch a glimpse of them where you are. And let me know also what you've been reading and enjoying this past week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.